Hi boys and girls, it's Monday the 1st of March today, and today we're going to be learning to measure length and height using a ruler. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can draw plans and pictures accurately, and our main method is going to be using a ruler today. But before we do anything, let's get our brains warmed up and thinking about measure and length. Okay, here's our starter. I want you to think about these questions, warm your brains up, and then we'll go through some answers. So question 1, which of these measurements describe length? 2 meters, 2 liters, 2 kilograms, or 2 centimeters? So choose which ones would describe a length of something. Question 2, match each length to a sensible estimate. Okay, now an estimate is a sensible guess, all right? So, how high do you think a giraffe might be? The size of a ladybird or the length of your thumb? Have a little think. And the last one, complete these statements. 1 meter equals how many centimeters? And 1 centimeter equals how many millimeters? So, pause the video here, have a go at answering these questions, and then we'll get the answers. Brilliant. How did you get on? Could you work it out? Let's have a go. So, which of the two measurements describe length? We've got 2 meters and 2 centimeters. 2 meters would describe roughly the height of a door, and 2 centimeters is quite a small amount like that. 2 liters would be used to measure capacity or liquid, and 2 kilograms would be used to measure weight. Now then, question 2, match each length to a sensible estimate. A giraffe would be about 5 meters maybe in height. The size of a ladybird would be about 5 millimeters, quite small. And the length of your thumb might be 5 centimeters. And 3, complete the statements. 1 meter, about that, is 100 centimeters. So there's 100 centimeters in every meter. And in 1 centimetre are 10 millimetres. And we'll think a little bit more about that today. Well done, boys and girls, you're doing great. Okay. So, today, we're going to be reading measurements from a ruler. And a ruler is used to measure the height, the width, and the depth of things. And on a ruler, there are lots of different things that we might be using. Now, Tommy is trying to measure the length of his brick. And as you can see, he's struggling a little bit. He's got his ruler, and he's got some numbers on it. How on earth is he going to measure it? Have a little think at home. What do you think Tommy needs to do in order to measure the length of his brick? Have a little think. What do you think? Have you come up with an idea of what he needs to do? Because his ruler's all over the place. Let's have a little look. So, with our rulers, lots of rulers are very, very different. Some have inches written on them, which is a different type of measure altogether. Some of them have centimetres on. Some of them just have centimetres and half centimetres. But we mainly use rulers in school with centimetres. Then in between each centimetre are 10 lines, and they're called millimetres. What I'll do is I'll zoom in nice and big on the ruler so that you can see the millimetres, and I'll just show you that now. Zoom in, very good. So as you see here, we've got our centimetres. So we've got a big line, we jump to a big line, we jump to a big line. That's a centimetre, okay? In between our centimetre marks, we've got 10 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medium line, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 big line. These 10 little lines, what we call millimetres, okay? So each one of these is 1 millimetre. This is a centimetre, which is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 millimetres, okay? We'll look at a little bit more about that as we go through the week. Mainly today, we're going to focus on our centimetres, okay? So, in order for Tommy to measure the length of his brick, we need to make sure we're using the right side of the ruler. We need to make sure we're using our centimetre side. Some rulers have this written on in cm. Now, what we need to do, we need to line our start points up with 0. I'm going to stop just there. It's really good to be accurate, okay? Now then, I'm going to look along the edge of my ruler, and where it stops, okay, that's the length. So, this brick is 5 centimetres long. So number 1, make sure you're using the centimetre side of the ruler. Number 2, line up the edge of the ruler with the item that you want to measure. And number 3, look to see where the other edge of your item lines up with the ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The brick is 5 centimetres long. If you want to write that as millimetres, you times it by 10. Each centimetre has 10 millimetres, so we can count 10 millimetres, 20 millimetres, 30 millimetres, 40 millimetres, and 50 millimetres. But like I said, we're going to do that a little bit more this week. Now then, Tommy also wants to measure the height of his object. What I'm going to do, I'll position the ruler and I'll zoom in. And what I would like you to do at home is pause the video and see if you can tell me how many centimetres the height of Tommy's brick is. All right, so I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge of the object, hopefully, if it works. Lovely, like that. Oh, good. So I'm going to line it up with the edge of my object. I'm going to start at 0, and then I'm going to read along. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in now. So that you can work it out. You ready? Have a little look at my ruler. How many centimetres high is Tommy's brick? Pause the video here, have a workout. Could you read it? Could you read the ruler? His brick is not 1 centimetre, but 2 centimetres. And if you wanted to go a little bit further, how many millimetres would that be? You can count the millimetres in between, or you can count in tens for 10 millimetres, 20 millimetres, okay? The brick is 2 centimetres tall, or 20 millimetres if you're counting in millimetres. Okay. Dora has drawn 2 lines, and she says that they're both 7 centimetres long. Do you agree? What do you think? Let's zoom in and have a look at Dora's lines. Let's think about our top tips. Starting at 0, lining it up, looking along the edge, stopping and thinking. Let's have a little think. Zoom in a little bit more. Good. Pause the video here. Have a think. Has Dora drawn 2 lines that are 7 centimetres long? Pause the video now. Brilliant. What do you think? I know that one of them definitely is 7 centimetres, but one of them definitely isn't. Let's look at this one here. She started correctly at 0, and she's gone all the way up and stopped at about 7. Okay, 7 centimetres long. However, with this one, we can see that's not quite right. She's definitely stopped at 7, but she hasn't started at 0, which is a problem. So when we're drawing lines or measuring, we always start at 0. Okay? Well done if you thought the same thing. You're doing great. Okay. Now Rosie is measuring a packet of crayons. She says the pack of crayons is 90 centimetres long. Let's have a look at the two rulers and I'll zoom in for you. Here's the pack of crayons. We can see she's started at 0, so she's followed our top tips. She's gone all the way along and she's stopped here. Let's have a look at these two rulers. There's definitely a difference. Millimeters, centimeters. Okay. Rosie has said the pack of crayons is 90 centimeters long. What do you think? Pause the video, have a little think and talk to your parents at home. Well done, boys and girls. Now then, Rosie's crayons are not 90 centimetres long, but 9 centimetres long. And if we have a look at her ruler, there's a couple of clues which we can see. Centimetres here is represented by a C and an M. So if we're using this type of ruler, we can see it's 9 centimetres long. This ruler here is measuring in millimetres. But what's really good is the fact that we can convert from centimetres to millimetres. We can use the centimetre measurement and then think about how many millimetres that might be as well. In each centimetre, if we go back to the start of the video, we know that there are 10 tiny lines in between the two marks which mark a centimetre. So for each centimetre is 10 millimetres. So if I had 2 centimetres, I'd have 10 and 20 millimetres. If I jumped all the way up to 3 centimetres, how many millimetres would that be? That's right, it would be 30, then 40, then 50, then 60, then 70, then 80, then 90. So 9 centimetres isn't 90 centimetres, it's 90 millimetres long. What Rosie should be saying is, my pack of crayons are 90 millimetres long, or 9 centimetres long. Okay? Here's a little zoomed in version. Rosie's measuring a pencil, and she says it's 45 millimetres long. Let's have a little look. She started at 0, top tip number 1. She's lined it up along the edge, number 2. She's stopped at the end with our measure, 3. Now then, we can see that she's measuring with a millimetre ruler today. And at home, you can choose a millimetre ruler or a centimetre ruler. It's completely up to you. We can do this together, okay? She's got 10 millimetres, 20 millimetres, 30 millimetres, 40 millimetres. And if we look at 40, we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it stops at 5. That means it's 45 millimetres long. And if we were going to write that as centimetres, we'd say it's 4 centimetres and a half, or 4 centimetres, 5 millimetres. Okay, there are 2 ways that you can write it. So we could say it's 45 millimetres long. We could say it's 4.5 centimetres long, or we could say it's 4 centimetres because it jumps to this point here, and 5 millimetres. So all of these ways are correct. Well done, boys and girls, you're doing a really good job. Your task today is there's on the website is a little worksheet for you to complete, and this will help you over the week. And when you're finished, I want you to challenge yourself with the next slides after this one and see if you can have a little think about them. They're just to challenge your thinking, okay, and your explanation. So complete the task which is on the website and then have a look at the following challenge slides. Keep up the hard work, boys and girls, you're doing a really good job.